in TikTok, a lot of people will say like, oh, I wanted to do this, but in the comments, they'll say, I wanted to do this, but I didn't have a mentor. I don't have a mentor. And I think the biggest misconception is not recognizing that people on these podcasts or books or all these people you're learning from are mentors.
I've always said that.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge misconception that people don't realize is just that like you're learning from these people. They're talking to you through the podcast. Just because they're not in person doesn't mean you're not getting the mentorship value from it. So people that say, I don't have mentors is complete BS.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sean Lowery Show. I have a pretty cool guest today. His name is Philip Pages, and he's a young entrepreneur who just got over 100,000 followers on TikTok. And he skipped college to get right into business and entrepreneurship. And I'm excited to have a conversation with him and talk it up about business and what it's like to be a 21-year-old in this modern age of TikTok and business. So, Philip, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Going great, Sean. Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm excited.
Cool. So, just tell people about yourself a little bit and just a little blurb about you.
Yeah, so I guess the short version is I grew up in Miami, Florida. As a kid, my dad ran his own consulting firm and just always saw him working hard. So I knew I wanted to run a business from a very young age. And we had coconut trees, so I'd cut coconuts off the trees and try and sell them door to door and then on the side of the road and stuff, did lemonade stands, kind of the whole 9 yards of the young entrepreneur, I guess. And then I got really into stock trading and investing when I was 12. I bought my first stock and I didn't like the element of stock trading. So I did that for a couple of years, but I didn't really like the element of that where I couldn't express my creativity. So I've always gravitated more towards, I guess, art and graphic design and stuff. Even though my parents kind of pushed me to being an engineer, I was never really good at calculus and things like on the AP exams, I got a 1 on both of them. So I did calculus A, B, and BC. I got a 1 on both times. So that's the worst grade you can get on the AP exam. So I was never one for that. And I really gravitated towards graphic design and art and that sort of thing. But that's the element I didn't like about stock investing is just you couldn't express your creativity. I felt very boxed in. It was just like, okay, look at these numbers and then invest. So when I was 17, I wanted to have more of a creative outlet and I wanted to make some money because I was making some money on stock trading, but I was losing a lot more than I was making. I'd have some good wins and then I'd lose some money. And that was all basically money that I'd earned from the coconuts and things like that.
Cool. So yeah, just like a natural entrepreneur kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. From the beginning. And then when I got started in business, e-commerce was just starting to boom. So this was like 2015, 2016. So just did a ton of product research and I tried a couple different businesses and again, just reinvesting the money that I'd earned from different side hustles and things. And first one business kind of worked and I started growing that. And I tried a couple other things, 3 different businesses, like a protein bar company, a party supply company, an office chair, rollerblade wheel company. And they all kind of failed for various reasons. And I'm happy to dive into those.
I want to get into those in a little bit, but have you ever been on a podcast before?
First time. No, I was on one maybe a month or so ago.
We're calling this your first time, all right?
Okay, let's do it. Yeah,
it's the Sean Lowery Show. You can't get bigger than this, man. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, that's sweet. Like first thing I want to talk about though is like, so TikTok, right? Like that's like the buzzword popular. Like I know, sir. Like I love e-commerce and all that, and like Instagram, Facebook. When I was in college, I'm 30, which I consider very young. So for me, it's like a kid. And Facebook was like kind of new when I was in college and it's all blown up. But TikTok's the new hot thing. And so you have over 100,000 followers on TikTok. And and like what got you started there? Like did you start by doing dances at all or did you always stay away from the dances?
I've never danced before on TikTok. So fortunate for that. I won't have to go look back years from now and be like, what the heck was I thinking?
And when you got on TikTok, did you feel like you were getting ahead of the game or did you just was that the normal thing for people your age to start producing content on?
Dude, let me tell you, it was actually Gary Vee. So
Gary Vee,
he's just like TikTok. And I actually made a Musical.ly
that's the same company, right?
Yeah, something like they merged or TikTok acquired them or something like that.
I remember Gary Vee talking about Musical.ly.
Yeah. And I joined Musical.ly I don't know, 2016 it was. Right when I was starting my business, I joined Musical.ly. I made one video and I'm like, this is stupid. So I deleted it and I didn't touch it again. And then I heard Gary Vee talking TikTok, TikTok, you got to do it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. So I made one video. It was just like a backflip video and I got like 300 views or something. I was like, with no followers, nothing, 300 views. I was like, that's kind of crazy.
And
so
a backflip's hard.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of going into, we'll talk about this later, but that's one of the things I try and do is just learn things that are outside my comfort zone.
Okay.
And we'll go into a tangent on that. But I was just showing this. I'm doing a backflip right now. Added some music, got 300 views. Okay, this is cool. So I made a couple more videos. I'm like, I'm gonna get a viral hit. Like that was my goal. So I made a couple different styles. I did like a magic trick type card thing. Throwing you can even go look at my TikTok account at the early videos. It was only like 2 or 3 months ago.
What's your handle?
Philip Pages. So
All right.
1 L. So
check it out.
Yeah. So that was my first video. Was like the backflip. Then I did the card trick. I was trying a couple different genres, and I was also thinking more long term. Like, what do I want to make content about?
Yeah.
So I was first trying to do 2 things: get a viral video by seeing what the options were, and then also I was trying to figure out what the next direction would be. So I was just testing different things, and my business video that I made is telling my story, like, hey, I started this at 17, I grew it, that one eventually got 1.5 million views, and I was like,
I saw that's like your biggest one, right?
No, that's one of I think my biggest one is like 2 or 3 million views.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, from having no followers, no nothing,
right.
You get 1.5 million. Like that's crazy.
Like was it kind of like organic?
Yeah, it was 100% organic. I mean, I had maybe like 5 followers, just like friends and family and stuff, and there was nothing. And that's what makes TikTok, I guess, unique from other.
I feel like it's getting a little harder for that to happen in the past 2-3 months, just because so many people are coming on.
I think so. I think it's getting harder, but I think there's
still
that ability to do so. I think the key thing that you'll see though, what's really weird is you'll see accounts that got like one viral hit and they'll gain like 50,000 followers from that one video. They got 10 million views or whatever. But then their next videos and their subsequent videos get like 100 views.
Probably because they're just not as good.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think even looking at it from a business perspective on like how to work with TikTok influencers, being on the other side of it, I'm looking at that. I'm saying, okay, so follower count is not necessarily the most important element of that, but what is important is looking and seeing how they're able to consistently generate views. So they might not be getting viral hits constantly, but if they're able to continue that momentum, it means that they have the chops to be a video producer. It's not super difficult to get a viral hit. I mean, if you watch enough TikTok videos, I'm sure you can kind of create something after a couple different tries, but it's the consistency, the having something to talk about that your audience cares about, and figuring out what your niche is, and like all those different things. Yeah. That's what I really struggled with, was trying to figure out.
So your niche is like entrepreneurship and business, right? That's kind of the niche you found.
Yeah, and my perspective on that is like, I'm not trying to be a guru. I've only been in business for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily. I'm not a guru by any stretch of the imagination. I know that the way to get followers would be like, okay, flash your sales numbers. Here's my course. Like what you see a lot of those like drop shipping guys do, like that. There's a proven formula to build that audience, but I don't want that because I'm thinking long term. Like, what is the perception going to be?
All right. When I started my mom's business, when I started my business in my mom's basement, I was 22 years old. I graduated college. But and I've been grinding on my business ever since then. The business is going great. But I didn't start my podcast until like 6 months ago and really producing any content about myself. I didn't give a shit. I didn't care because I was just like grinding. I was like, no one cares about me. And now I've started putting out content and everything like that. And I love doing it. And why? Like, so what is your end game? Like, what is your objective? Like, honestly, like I'm kind of doing my podcast for fun. I'm connecting with new people. I'm learning, and now I am trying to kind of like be a voice, talking about business, connecting with people. But while I was building it up for the first like 7 years, I was kind of quiet and didn't care about anything like that, building a personal brand. So like, you started right away, like I guess documenting, not creating. Did you hear that from Gary Vee, and that's why you did it? That's
exactly it. And that's a really good question, I guess, on the end game. And I think that's what not enough people focus on is like, why are you doing it? I actually held off for the first few years just because I didn't feel like I was qualified to be an expert. But my perspective is social media or having a following is really the new business card. So having that social media following shows other high achievers, I guess, that you're legitimate, because it's not easy to build a following.
And you could potentially partner with them or do business with them one day.
Just even the fact that I'm on your podcast right now is a testament to that. Because if I had kept my head down, hadn't said anything, I wouldn't have met people. So I've met a lot of really cool people. And now when I'm sliding into high achieving entrepreneurs DMs, they look and see, okay, this guy has some credibility, so they take you a little bit more seriously.
That's legit.
And then you can also leverage that.
Yeah, if you didn't have 100,000 followers on TikTok that was about business, I wouldn't be talking to you.
Exactly. So, yeah. And it's opened up that kind of, that's my end game. I want to document the process. I don't want to be an expert. I'm developing expertise, but I'm not an expert. So it's basically me saying, okay, this is what I've learned. This is what I'm testing. Here's kind of the business that I'm building. So when I do build a 20, 50, $100 million company, people can see the entire journey over 20, 30 years of what that took. So I think that perspective is something that's not really shown, because you're seeing Gary Vee, but he's already made it. He's already running a multi-$100 million company.
Right.
I would have loved to have seen him in his early days. So that's really kind of the niche that I'm trying to fill, is show this is what I'm doing, document these videos, and then also leverage that for social, for just like networking with people and meeting other like-minded entrepreneurs and stuff, and having more credibility in the space. And trying to find mentors and things like that. So that's my end goal.
That makes perfect sense.
Not trying to sell anybody anything.
No, that makes perfect sense. And like, I thought about that like before when I was running my business, but like I just sold products to customers. So like I didn't really need any connections in the business world, but like I'm doing it now. So it makes perfect sense, and it's smart. And like, do people make money? How do TikTokers like make money? Is it just like being an influencer on any other platform, or do they just not make money?
I couldn't tell you, because again, my focus isn't on making money. But
like you haven't made any money on TikTok, have you? Like, right?
No,
I mean Charlie was in a Super Bowl commercial. That's how she made money.
Yeah. I mean, people can make money. I think a lot of them are using like affiliate links.
Right.
So
the same as any other way that you collect eyeballs and connect with an audience, and companies will pay you to maybe wear their shirt or something like that.
And that's another really interesting phenomenon that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the companies that are now starting to leverage TikTok for growth, and especially apparel companies. Those are doing particularly well. There's one that I'm looking at. Yeah. I think you guys could really leverage it a lot. And
we haven't done it enough yet.
One like tidbit, I guess, that I think it would be really helpful coming from the perspective of a creator. If you want to get someone's attention, have your audience and also tag the creator with using the @ symbol in the comments. So like say, hey, tag this person in the comments, because what a lot of people don't realize is that when you're sifting through all the comments, like on the feed, if you're a creator, you get hundreds and hundreds of notifications every couple minutes or so. You can sort those by comments, by followers, by @, whoever added you, and then by something else. There's like 4 different options. Everyone's always commenting, but not a lot of people are using the @ symbol.
Okay.
So
let me say that again. So like my company, United Monograms, we have like 300,000 on Facebook, 130,000 on Instagram, and like 515 on TikTok. And you're saying that if I go to a big person's page, a girl, and as the company, I comment and put in their name in our TikTok, or
we'll see that's. Yeah, in your TikTok. So you make a TikTok saying, this is what I've seen one company is doing really, really well. And they've gotten a lot of big names with like 30, 40 million followers or 20 million. And what they're doing is they're saying, hey, we made these clothes for, let's take Charlie, for example. I made this for Charlie. Please tag you're making a video about it. Please tag in the comments, Charlie. And then you have like 500, 1,000 people commenting Charlie.
We could even do Charlie's monogram and be like,
exactly. Like
hey, we made this for Charlie. Please tag her in the comments so she sees this.
Yes,
that's what you're saying.
That's 100% what I'm saying, because that notification shows up in a different spot than just like a regular follow or comment.
So it will get Charlie's attention or someone.
Yes, especially if you have thousands of people. And like if you notice, there's videos of people saying, tag this person, and then that person's going to comment on your video, or like that's what you can do. I mean, if this starts getting used a lot, you might not get the attention of like Charlie, but you can definitely find someone with 100,000, 500,000.
Yeah.
Like
and that'll show up in a different spot from their point of view.
Yeah.
So therefore getting their attention. That's good. We're gonna do that. That's smart.
Yeah, and I think for you particularly, or apparel brands, or someone that's trying to get these people's attention, make these people a custom piece of apparel saying, "Hey, I made this
monogram with their monogram." Like that's literally we're like the perfect company to do that for. Like for us to do,
I really do think you guys could leverage that. And then you send it out to them, and then they wear it in their video, and then you can use that piece of content in Facebook ads or Instagram ads or TikTok ads whenever they make those public. Like, I think that could be a huge unlock.
Dude, we're gonna go right for Charlie.
Yeah, do it.
Right for like that's.
You just need to like leverage the social TikTok element of it. Say comment her in the comments, and then if that goes viral, that she gets 50,000 or 100 people saying, at Charlie D'Amelio, use this piece of apparel. I made it for you. She's like, okay, I'll take it.
That's amazing.
I mean, do that to all the different high-end movers and shakers on TikTok.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
that's awesome. What other like content that you do on TikTok do you see work well? I see you have that like $1 million business idea thing.
Yeah,
like, those are actually like some good ideas. Now, I always say that ideas are worth shit unless they have like execution behind them. Yeah. But like, you're not saying you're going to start those businesses. You're just like literally thinking of an idea for fun and putting it on TikTok. And
I mean, that's one of the things that I do every day to stay creative is everyone thinks that ideas are things that just come to you, but I believe that ideas are things that you can actually, it's a muscle. Getting creative is a muscle. So every day before I leave the office, I have to write down 2 ideas in my journal and 1 question. So that way I'm constantly thinking of new ideas, and subconsciously I'm scanning the world for problems and thinking of the solutions for it so that I can add them to my journal. And then sometimes I'll just be like, okay, I want to make a video on this, and then I'll share it with people. Because everyone's like, oh, I don't have an idea or anything. And it's like,
I have a quote on Instagram that got like a good amount of likes, and it says like, ideas are 1,000% worthless. And like maybe now they're only 80% worthless because they're actually, you're saying they actually have value because they're flexing your muscle of your brain. If someone would have commented on my post and said that, I might have been like, oh, good point.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's kind of a difficult concept to explain in the comment section and things like that, but I really do think that's a very valuable skill to foster and to nurture, is just the development of ideas and creativity and stuff. Because then you can apply that to your business in different ways.
So speaking of different ideas and different things, like, so you have a couple businesses, and it seems like you have all kinds of different ideas. Another one of my piece of advice that has like done well and I believe in is like focus on one thing and really become like the best at it and really good at it. So like, first of all, like, what are some of your, like, what do you have, 4 businesses? Like, what are your businesses?
So my main business is kind of like an umbrella. Stinger Industries, STNGR. Okay. And then within that, it has like the tactical gear side. We sell a lot to like law enforcement, civilians, like for veterans, people like that. And then we have like more of like the outdoor gear side of it. So sunglasses and bags. And there's a lot of crossover.
Just name the other ones, And then I'm also toothbrushes, right?
What's
that? Toothbrushes.
Yeah, that's the other one. I'm also starting a new startup, which is more of a passion project.
Is that under the Stinger umbrella?
No, this is kind of separate. And that's really what I'm documenting a lot on TikTok, is just the journey as I build this. And it's kind of scary because it's a very competitive industry. I don't know if it's going to succeed or not, but here's 100,000, 115,000 people that I'm like, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm building it.
And what about the sunglasses that you're talking about on TikTok also? What about those?
Yeah, those are part of that Stinger company. So we have like ballistic eyewear for range use and hunting and things.
The one way that you can get away with like being scatterbrained in business is if it's under an umbrella company that like shares resources. So I'll give you that, but this toothbrush shit is random.
It's kind of
Like, what about if you took all that energy that you have put towards the toothbrush stuff and put it towards like the brands in your umbrella company? Like, what do you think? Like, do you ever think about that? Like that you're like spreading too thin at all?
I mean, yes and no. That's a good question, and I think I get a lot of value. Like, me knowing myself personally, I like to be working on a couple different things at a time, just because I get ideas from one thing, it keeps me excited, and then I move those ideas. Like, I still do cross-pollinate with a lot of those different businesses. It's really kind of 2 businesses, essentially. It's the tactical gear, that's one, and then it's the toothbrush.
Yeah, this is one thing that I like fundamentally disagree with Gary Vee on, because you might have got that advice from him. He always says like, do this thing, do that thing, do all kinds of different stuff. And I'm like, dude, no, don't do that. Like, I feel like that's bad advice sometimes as an entrepreneur. But I guess maybe it depends on the person, maybe. It depends on the person, the situation. But I just feel like if all the attention is put towards one thing become amazing, then it could be like so much better than the competition. But like if you're spread thin on all different things. But okay.
I agree. Like I agree to a degree with that, but I also agree slightly with Gary. It's finding a happy medium and understanding like your own personality and what keeps you excited. I know that when I started the second business, it doesn't take up a ton of time right now, which is good. It's still kind of in the development phase where I'm still occasionally email with the manufacturer, like, this is what we want adjusted, this is what I want tweaked, here's the design, like that sort of stuff. And then I've also been able to hire out some people to kind of run the operations of the main business. So a lot of what I do is just kind of the creativity stuff, the ads, thinking about like future direction.
Yeah.
And then having those multiple businesses allows me to think in different perspectives. Like, okay, this is the toothbrush industry, but this is kind of what's working there. Well, how can I apply that to the tactical side and vice versa?
Buy one gun, get a free toothbrush.
Maybe something like that.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But the stinger thing, right? Like,
yeah.
All right, so that's like the main business, like you said. Guns? You sell guns?
We don't.
Okay. I went to the website and there's a big fat like gun on the front of the website.
We sell accessories. We're getting into like scopes and optics for like hunting, and we're going to be getting into binoculars and things like that.
So you don't sell guns?
We don't sell the firearm. We sell like slightly accessories, like
okay. Because I was curious about that because that's like a hot button like industry and all that. And I was wondering if there was like regulations or what the rules were or anything like that. But you just do accessories.
Yeah, like select accessories.
And how'd you get into that?
I just kind of going back to what I was talking about when I was first starting. I was just looking at a couple different industries and niches and things like that. And I had some buddies that were really interested in firearms, so I was testing out some different products and things, and those started to sell. And then the business kind of just started growing.
How do you source the products?
So we actually have those made in the U.S. We have the majority of that's in the U.S. Our optics that we're working on are going to be likely made in somewhere like Japan or somewhere overseas.
But you work with like manufacturers and you send them like specs and such, and they...
Yeah. So like it's a funny story because my brother, he's an aerospace engineer. He builds rockets out in the desert, but
that's cool.
Yeah, no, he worked. Jeff Bezos's rocket company, Blue Origin.
Blue Origin.
Yeah, he works for Blue Origin.
No way.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he's actually helped us in the very beginning stages. Like, I had some ideas for drawings. I'm like, I want this. Can you make this into a 3D design? So then he goes and kind of creates something that's somewhat manufacturable. And then we have a manufacturer for us out in California who tweaks it, adjusts it, and makes it the final product. And then we've worked with those guys for years now. So that's a really good relationship we've been leveraging.
And you store inventory?
Yeah, no dropship.
I've seen on TikTok your little like warehouse. Is that like at your house? Do you rent space?
No, we have an office space. Yeah, it's kind of like an office flex space. So
that's right.
Like literally over there, that's where all our warehouse is, and then kind of where I'm at, it's the office. And this right here is actually part of the packaging foam. So it all kind of just like boils over and flows.
How many square feet do you have?
2,200 square feet right now.
Yeah, I have like 3,500, and it is we're actually like kind of busting out of it. But we don't store inventory, which is a nice business model. We decorate the product. We decorate the product.
Okay.
So we get the product in, we decorate it, and then we get it out the door. But you were you about to rip on drop shipping?
A little bit.
Yeah. What's your rip on drop shipping?
I don't think it adds value to the end consumer.
I agree.
So it's a business model that's completely predicated on your ability to market it. So your only value add, it's not even a value add. It's just, we found this. Now I'm going to mark it up.
You can't add value in price. You can't add value in product features. You don't do anything.
No, you are literally just a marketing engine marking up products that other people can find on AliExpress. Like, you're not even saving time on shipping.
You're slowing it down.
You're just ordering it from there's at no point in the process are you adding value, and the real money in drop shipping is made in the courses because those are 100% margin. Like, there's so much about that industry that I really disagree with.
It's like a scammy industry. Like, I feel like there's not a lot of real entrepreneurs in there. It may be like someone young at your age might do it to practice what it's like to build an e-commerce site, learn how to sell some products, maybe run some ads, but like no business has it ever been built off the back of just like pure drop shipping of products that you don't manufacture on your own, unless it is a course or something like that, which is
and I think the key differentiator there is like drop shipping from AliExpress, because I know a lot of people will be like, no, drop shipping has been around for ages. Like, yes, I know Zappos started as drop shipping, but drop shipping from AliExpress, where there's no value add and you're literally just finding stuff, marking it up by 5 times, 3 times,
and then not even shipping it. Yeah.
And then the customer services, like, it's a bad customer experience all across the board. And then also those stores will peak and then drop off just as quickly. And then you're on to the next thing. Like all those gurus, if you look at their numbers, they go way high and then they just fall off and then they're off to the next.
Why do you think that is? Do you think maybe the product that they're having success with? Saturation?
Exactly. Because it's essentially becomes commoditized when everyone else finds it.
And literally the only competitive advantage you could have is maybe a better picture.
Yes, exactly. You're not building a true business that you can actually sell a couple of years down the road. You're just kind of spinning your wheels, finding something, make a quick buck, and then you move on. And I think as consumers get more aware of like what drop shipping stores are, you can spot a drop shipping store really quickly just based off all the little tactics and things they use and the shipping times. I think as people get more familiar with that, they're gonna be like, okay, I'm not gonna use a drop shipping store anymore because I can just go to AliExpress and do it myself.
Yeah.
So you're spending, and it's just as much time to run the business as like a regular business that has fundamentals to it.
And these people might just be scared of the idea of like renting space and storing inventory and so they just don't want to be real entrepreneurs, really.
Yeah, and like there's obviously going to be the exception, but I find that the vast majority of people will have initial success, then use that and then create a course or something like that. And the real money is made in the course. And then there's also the whole element of people faking numbers. Like it's so easy to fake your numbers in Shopify. Like you just put in a manual order and then mark it as paid, then boom, I did $10,000. Like there's so much.
I've never even like thought of that. Like I never even had to be in a situation where like I'm like, how can I make my numbers look better to like someone?
But there's so much money to be made in those courses.
You create a product and you like make it $10,000, and then what do you like buy it and then just cancel it out and like return it or something like that?
You don't even do that. You just create a manual order, mark as paid, and then the revenue shows up in your store. Take a screenshot, boom, now you have a course. Like that's what's happening.
It's so fucking stupid. Oh my god. That's
it's and I've been talking out about that on my TikTok. It's just like, watch out for this, because anything that claims that is get rich quick, you're not the one who's going to be getting rich quick. The person selling you that is the one who's going to be getting rich quick based off of all the money you're giving them.
Yeah. I've never even like considered anything like that. And honestly, like, I mean, maybe if you're like 15 and you want to be an entrepreneur, you might get tricked by that. But like, just people listening, do not be tricked by like fake entrepreneurship. There's so much of that courses and bullshit. I feel like the word course is just like a kind of like a negative word a little bit.
I think so too. I mean, like obviously I learn a lot from various courses from very select people, and they're more of like mastery courses.
Like you buy them?
Yeah, like certain ones. Like Ezra Firestone, he has a pretty good course on Facebook marketing. A couple other guys that are like high level. You know, they're running businesses that are doing like $50-100 million or more. But all those intro courses of like, this is how you get, all that information is on YouTube. It's all on YouTube, and they just repackage it, put a $9.97 price tag on it, and then sell it. Like
Super stuff.
Yeah.
So how are you having success selling products? I saw you do some stuff about Facebook ads. That is my like bread and butter. But Facebook ads, like, is that like how are there ways that you're selling products and what's working the best?
Yeah. So funny thing is the niche that we're in, a lot of the products we can't sell through Facebook ads or Google ads. So we've really had to adapt the method in which we market.
Because they're like gun related ish.
Yeah. Okay. If you have anything related to kind of like the tactical industry, it's like immediate ban. No way, Jose. Like you're not on our platform. Yeah. It gets pretty dicey pretty quick.
Interesting. That would do so well if you could sell on Facebook. Oh, you could target it. It would do so well. So that sucks.
No, let me tell you, like before we got kicked off of Facebook and stuff, before I ever realized that we weren't allowed to do that, I started running ads for like a week. And our CPA on that was like $5 at scale for like $100 products.
Dude, that's amazing. What's like, did you see that little like ROAS number? Like, dude, that's like the number. Like, do you know what the number was for that?
I don't know.
I mean, there's probably like 10 or like 12 or something like that. Like really
it was insane. Like
so, $5 cost per acquisition on a $100 purchase. That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah, and I was like, our business is going to be doing $10 million next year. This is great. Yeah. And then a week later, boom, we're off.
Dude, that sucks. That sucks, man. Yeah. That sucks. So how do you sell them?
A lot of different ways. So affiliate influencer marketing has really been done well for us. So partnering up with like the top YouTubers in the industry and then giving them an affiliate link and they
get a piece.
We've done Instagram influencers, hasn't worked as well. I think it's just not an impulse buy of a product, so it takes a little bit longer to think about. But the good thing I like about YouTube videos is that asset then lives on Google. So you type in our name and then all the YouTube reviews come up. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck with those YouTube reviews. And then the YouTubers getting commission. So they're incentivized to post more about it. Yeah. It's just a really beneficial relationship all the way around.
Yeah, that's cool. What we sell is a like impulse purchase, like cute girls clothing. And still, like we've been working with influencers, and I've probably spent $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on influencers over the past couple of years. I don't know, man. They're really fucking expensive. It's like $2,000 to work with a girl, and I don't know. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. No, it's tricky. I mean,
that's why this TikTok idea that's gonna be the next thing we do.
I think right now, particularly TikTok is very underpriced. A lot of these people are, if they've gained their followers in the last 3 or 4 months, and they now have 1 million followers in the past 6 months, 4 months, like whatever that is, they haven't necessarily been approached by all these companies.
Exactly. Like on Facebook and Instagram, we're going to the big people, big girls that know what they're doing, and we pay them, and it does work. It definitely brings traffic and such. But it's way overpriced. It's just too expensive. Like it's just not worth it. Right now. So TikTok.
Yeah, and then you can also link. They can link their. You're not able to link in the post.
That's one of the problems. That's one of the problems with Instagram too.
The thing is that they're experimenting with it. So you can add it's really weird. You can add like Wikipedia links in your post to link out. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Not a lot of people do it, but you can. So that leads me to believe that eventually they'll add an actual like.
If you run an ad, you can get the shop now thing.
Yeah,
learn more. There's like 10 things you can choose from. Watch now, listen now, shop now, or learn more. But but they're not running ads. They're just posting it, and it really does get a lot of. And then they can put it in their story, and they can hit swipe up, and that gets us tons of traffic. But so when you think influencer marketing with your products like the gun accessories and such, YouTube is good because it takes longer to make the purchase. So they search your name, like your company name, and then they get the reviews, and then you find them sometimes buying through the link on the YouTube video from someone that you paid.
That and also the benefit of YouTube is just like regular organic ranking. So if the influencer knows how to rank their videos in the YouTube algorithm, so you type in best XYZ tactical gear product, and then boom, your product is one of the top 3, then they're basically using YouTube as a search engine like Google. And then also those YouTube videos will show up in Google as well. So if you type in best so-and-so, your YouTube video will show up. So you get it for the branded search, you get it for the YouTube algorithmic search, and then the Google algorithmic search. Okay. So we just find a lot of value from those videos, and building those relationships with those influencers and just really leveraging them a lot is really what we've done. And then also just organic SEO, kind of like the old school stuff, email marketing, the less sexy stuff.
I mean, I got to do that email marketing. That's awesome, man. Do you have employees? Yeah,
so we have a couple different team members.
Are they older than you?
Yeah.
What's it like to? I've dealt with this before because I had like 12 employees when I was like 24, 25, 26, and even now a lot of my employees are older than me. What's that like? How's that experience?
It's weird. I mean, there's a high level of respect still. Also, a lot of our workers are remote as well, so you're not necessarily seeing them face to face in person. So there's that element to it. But I don't know. It's a very interesting dynamic.
I will say, as somebody who started, like I'm 30 now, and around 24 I started hiring employees. And as I've gotten older, it's become like less weird that I'm in
Mm-hmm.
charge. From like
the first time was just like, this is
yeah.
me 21 telling someone that's 30, 40 years old, like,
right. Like I just hired an operations manager who like manages all 15 of my employees, and he's 10 years older than me. But it's less weird now that I'm 30.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was, even if I was 24 and he was 34, there's definitely an element there of like, you're so young that it's like, so that gets a little easier with age for sure. And obviously like experience and just like the fact that you have a great business speaks for itself too. But you have remote employees. Like, do you do all your own like shipping and such?
Yeah, so we do a lot of like in-house fulfillment because we see that currently, like in our current state, that's kind of one of, I guess, a value add that we're able to do. So by not using a 3PL, we're able to save on that fulfillment cost and then offer a lower price to the consumer through our direct.
And you're building something that can do more for you. I've used 3PLs before, man, and they fucking suck. And now I have my own shipping department. We got 3 stations in there. We're getting out about like 800, 1,000 packages a day, and it's just you have more control when you own it. So like, I mean, yeah, go for it. 3PLs, like, oh man, I've had some bad experiences with them. Also, I can't because the items are personalized. So
yeah. I mean, ideally, we'd like to figure out a way to automate the process a little more, but for our current volume levels, I think we're good. But I guess as we continue to grow, we got to figure out what our core competencies we want them to be. So is it fulfillment? Is it marketing? Like, where is your value add? Because I know a lot of the new age consumer brands, I guess like the Movements and the Gymsharks, maybe not Gymshark, but I know Movement particularly or Chubbies or guys like that have built these fantastic businesses. Their main core competency is really the marketing side of it. And then they kind of outsource the fulfillment to other third-party companies, and then they just run the revenue and grow.
I think about that, and maybe I'm just biased because I have a personalized clothing industry where I could really never outsource a lot of the production. But like, I also feel like having the production, I'm gonna build this like big factory, and like eventually I'll be able to do so many more business of it. Maybe I could be the company where I'm fulfilling other people's orders or something.
Yeah,
I definitely see the advantage in having my own production and my own like facilities and my own ability to ship products and that being so close to the consumer. But I don't know.
But then to play devil's advocate, obviously there's the element of like, now you got to hire the staff, you got to manage them because you got to hire a lot of, and then maybe there's more volume during Christmas. You got to have seasonal workers. And then
I deal with that problem all the time.
Yeah. So there's definitely pros and cons for sure.
Right. And I actually enjoy the fact that I have to do it is one thing. So I don't really have an option. But also, somebody's got to deal with these warehouse logistic problems. So I don't mind being the person to do it. We actually just hired an employee for the first time that doesn't have one department that she works in. She moves from shipping to embroidery to printing, and she's like a spot filler. And that's been one of the ways. That's one of the ways that
that's a really good idea.
Dude, it was my operations manager idea, and it's been great because that's always a problem. Like, we have all these orders for embroidery and printing, and then someone doesn't show up that day. So we really need to get more printing done. But then the shipper has not much to do, so they leave. And like, now we have all this printing that needs to get done. It just throws off the whole flow of it. It's been a problem that I deal with every day for the past couple of years. And now getting the operations manager and getting the spot filler, it's been awesome. And I like handling these logistics. And someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it. So I don't mind being the one to figure it out. But yeah, man, it's fun stuff. But so one thing I wanted to ask you about was, when I was 21, I was a smart guy, but I had the most fun college experience, man. I was in a frat. I was in a fraternity. I was vice president of my fraternity, so I was learning leadership skills and recruitment skills, and I was playing sports and staying active. I was definitely drinking all the time and partying. I love college, and you're not having that experience, right? So how do you feel about that? By choosing not to go to college?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's pros and cons to it. Like,
definitely.
I've never been someone that's into alcohol or partying.
No?
All
right.
I've been to maybe like 2 or 3 parties.
What?
But yeah, like it's not. I don't enjoy it. Like, I would much rather prefer being around 2 or 3 people that I know and having a deep conversation with.
So you were homeschooled up until 5th grade, right?
I was, yeah. So but the thing is, so
that's not that. You got 6th grade, but did you go to like public high school with a lot of people?
Yeah, I did.
Did you play sports?
Yeah, so I did a lot of sports. When I was as a kid, I swam competitively up until about 7th, 8th grade, and then from there, I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. I want to go try other things. So I did football, I did track, I did Did I do powerlifting? I don't know. I was kind of in that.
Did you have like friends in high school and stuff?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
did you have like a girlfriend or like?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I think
so you're not like a big fat nerd.
No, because I think I had 5 other siblings. Even though I was pretty isolated as a homeschooler, I still had 5 other people to socialize and try and develop an EQ around, just by like trying to understand what their mood is right now and how I can like just. There's that element of sociality. Is sociality a word? I don't even know. But just that element of like interacting with people on a daily basis. I wasn't like an only child, secluded homeschooler, so I came out really weird.
Okay. You're not a weird guy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. that's the dream, you know. But yeah, so I did a couple of sports. Go ahead.
Yeah, cool. But I just think it's such an interesting debate, especially for someone that's entrepreneurial, about going to college or not going to college. I think it's such an interesting debate, and there's so many benefits of not going to college. You learn. I think basically everything makes sense not to go to college. I think, but the one thing that I think that is interesting is like college gets you to move out of your house. It gets you to kind of start a second era. It gets you to meet new people. It gets you to. I mean, I like partying, so like I got to party a lot and kind of get that out of your system as a young person. And then and even Gary Vee says, people say, what's your one regret in life? He said, I would have went and partied more in college and hooked up with more girls and partied more. Like you ever heard him say that?
I have, yeah.
But also he's doing amazingly. So it's just one maybe little thing and he's fine. But you obviously made the decision to skip college, and it seems to be you're going to be way better off as an entrepreneur by the time you're 22 than if you did go. College didn't teach me jack shit. It didn't teach me jack shit. I had a marketing degree and accounting minor. I was in the entrepreneurial program. I was like a certified student leader. None of that shit taught me anything. I mean, maybe on like a little scale or something, but you're going to be well off. But you're happy sticking with your decision at this point in your life?
Yeah, I mean, early on it was kind of tough just because, okay, now I'm living at home. I'm running this business 16 hours a day.
Do you live at home now?
No, not anymore. So for the first 4 years of the business, everything was going into the business, full reinvestment. I wasn't taking a salary or anything like that. It was just living at home, work. I'm seeing all my friends. They're all meeting people, partying, kind of doing whatever they're doing. So it was really tough seeing that and just not having that social element to it. But at the same time, I've always had a vision of like, I want to be here. This is my life ambition. And it wasn't in the cards for me to go to college. Recently in the past year, it's gotten better just because I moved out. I'm on my own. Nice. I'm taking a small salary. So I'm now an individual person. So I'm now appreciating that decision more. But I've been pretty clear about like where I want to go in life, and understanding that direction made it pretty easy, the decision to go to college or not. Like I've never been one for, again, partying or anything like that. So that element of college was never in the cards. And then, I was already running the business. I was doing a couple $100,000.
You're not going to have debt for an education that's worthless.
And that's the thing. I would have had to have paid for college myself. So it would have been, now I'm running the business to fund college, to get a degree that I don't want. Then I can go get a job that I don't want. Like the equation did not make sense. So I was willing to kind of give up, I guess, those early years to build something that I can now leverage. And as far as the elements of meeting new people, I guess there's that element to it, but by going to conferences and meeting like,
you have 100,000 TikTok followers.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like now that I have a story to tell that's unique from the other perspective, I'm able to meet more people like you who I otherwise wouldn't be able to meet because I'd just be coming out of college.
No, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And then I had one other point that, so a lot of people are scared about not going to college because they think like having that alma mater, you're going to build instant credibility with other people. I think if you maybe go to Harvard or something like that, it does, but I found the same to be true for people that don't go to college. So I have an instant connection with people that didn't go to college or dropped out. So it's almost like having your own club, because
alumni of no college.
Exactly. And if you meet someone that's a high achiever doing that, you instantly build a connection because you both understand each other. You're like, we're alike.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that element of it is also pretty cool as I meet more people in the space.
That's cool. Yeah. Like I think we're similar in a lot of ways. And like, I think maybe one of the differences is you were more entrepreneur as a kid, and I love partying and drinking. So like I was in a fraternity, had a great time in college, and then right after I got right into the entrepreneur life. So,
and you're doing great. So I mean,
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Yeah. So I think it's just such an interesting debate for entrepreneurs to go to college or not. And there, you get to people who listen, you get to see two perspectives: someone who went and enjoyed the experience, someone who didn't go and is enjoying the experience. And the main maybe variable in the difference is how much we like drinking.
I honestly think you're right. I think having that self-awareness of who you are as a person, like, do you need those 4 years to mature, to figure out how to do scheduling, to get that out of your system so you're not wanting to party when you're older? Or are you already someone that has a vision, has a direction, has maybe a company or a YouTube channel or something that they want to grow already, and then they're figuring it out and they know where they want to go? Like, if you know where you want to go, the decision of college or not makes a lot more sense. It's easier to decide.
Yes, and a lot of people don't know where they want to go. And I didn't really either. If
you don't know where you want to go, then I definitely suggest maybe going to college and figuring it out, because you can always drop out. You can always go back to college. But if you're working on something and by going to college is going to be a detriment or a detraction from what you're doing, then I mean, like, why are you going in the first place? Just to like please your parents? And here's the other thing. So the key, I guess, convincing factor was the ability to take a gap year. So not a lot of people realize it, but between senior year and freshman year of college, you can take what's called a gap year. And a lot of colleges, if you're admitted, you can then go and go back after a year off of not doing anything. So you could maybe, if you're running something, you don't know if it's going to work, take that gap year, make sure you can still go back to college at the end of it, but then still see if you can go in and run that business and see if you can grow it in that year's time. You give yourself more of a runway, so you're not like crammed to make a decision right away. And I think that might be beneficial for people that are confused on like, do I go to college or not? And you can also convince your parents easier by saying, hey, after this, then I can now go back to college if this didn't work. But this way I can pursue my dream and I won't resent you at all because you gave me the opportunity, you gave me the leeway to pursue it. I think that's an option that maybe not enough people are doing.
Dude, that's great. And if young people are listening that have that situation, that's very good advice. And now don't be a lazy bum and be like, oh, I'm going to take a gap year because I got a bunch of C's and D's. And like, but for people like entrepreneurial minded, like you can even still go back that year and like hang out and like, and still wear the sweatshirt with a college on it, because you're technically like still part of it or whatever. But then you can spend that time that everyone else is in the classroom or library working on your business.
I mean, you can drive down to college and go to football games with your buddies and hang out on the weekends. And then during the week, you're grinding and doing what you got to do. I mean,
that's awesome. That's a good idea. Yeah. That's awesome, man. So, So the other thing I want to bring up is say you like doing hard things.
Yeah.
So tell me
David Goggins was the inspiration for that.
Dude, yeah. I mean, David Goggins is the man. Like, tell me some of the things you've done that you think are hard things.
Yeah, so earlier
besides for starting a business at 20, like.
Yeah, I mean, I think earlier in the podcast we talked about the backflips. That was one of the things. Is like, okay, backflips scare the daylights out of me. Yeah. I'm terrified. I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna try. So I hired a coach. I learned how to do it.
You hired a coach? I did. A professional backflipping coach? Is that a thing?
He was like a tumbling coach. So gymnastics, tumbling. So he taught me in a controlled environment. So I figured out how to do that.
Like when you called him, was he like, okay, you just want to do a backflip?
No, let's do it.
Okay.
I mean, there's a coach for anything out there. If you want to learn something, just go to an expert, figure it out, learn it. I mean, just jumpstart that process, especially if it's a backflip where you could get paralyzed or do something stupid on your own. Get a professional, learn how to do it.
Can you still do one?
Kind of. So I did a risk analysis on it. I'm like, okay, so why am I learning this? First, I showed myself that I could do it. And then to maintain that skill, you got to consistently be doing it.
Is it about leg strength, or is it about like more about
commitment?
like the tactics and like the repetition of the
bones? It's commitment and technique. It's technique. Mostly here. Most people can do it. It's the commitment to jump around and talk and like, I mean, the mental block of like the mental block of going from my coach, like holding and spotting me, to just doing it on my own was like another level, because I knew I could do it. I could do it with him just standing there, but having that safety net taken away just like broke me.
The mental block. I never thought about backflips that way, but obviously doing things where your brain has to overcome a mental block is an amazing thing to do for your brain. It's just like doing bicep curls for your muscles. If you want big muscles, if you want to have a big brain, smart brain, you will need to practice it with stuff like that. And that was your reasoning for doing it, I guess? And
that was the exact reasoning. Like right now, I could probably throw one if I fully committed and went for it, just because I have the muscle memory. But I haven't done it in recent months, just because like I accomplished it and it was like, okay, the reason I continue to do this is just to show off to people, and like if I haven't been practicing and I try and show up and I break my neck and I'm out.
Just show them your TikTok.
Exactly. I mean, I can do it. I've showed it, but I accomplished that. And that kind of goes back to testing out the mental toughness of like trying to overcome that mental block, doing the thing I do with ideas, trying to establish more creativity. There's ways to optimize the mind that I've been experimenting with. And then the other big one was running a marathon, which actually halfway through turned into running a 50K ultra marathon just by taking a slight detour.
Marathon's what, 26?
26. This is the ultra marathon. 50K is only like a 31-ish miles. So it was only an extra like 5 miles or so. But it was the most painful experience of my life.
You decided mid-race to do the 31 instead of the 26?
Yeah, because it was like I was running with a buddy, and one of the things I try and do is always do like a little bit more. So like an extra rep, an extra this, an extra that, an extra like just do a little bit more because it just compounds on itself. So I was running the marathon with my buddy, and like we see the detour, and it's like, okay, this direction for the 50K ultra. And we look at each other like, might as well. We're already here. We're already in pain. We're already running it. Now we can get a medal that says 50K ultra, and we can be ultra marathon runners. So we just take the detour. It took me like 6 hours, and I actually ran it injured. So I was like fully in pain the whole time, like slicing pain in my knees. Like it was brutal. I couldn't walk for 3 days afterwards. I had to like be pushed around in my wheelchair, like the office chair. I had to be pushed. Like it was a brutal experience, but doing that just I think has now whenever I run like 2 miles or 6 miles or 8-10 miles, like it's not a big deal because you've pushed your threshold up. It's like, oh, I ran 31 miles before. Why can't I run 2 miles now? So pushing up that threshold of that mental toughness of what you know is possible has really been beneficial. And like even just cold showers in the morning, like there's lots of little things that I do to try and
cold showers in the morning.
Yeah, just
after a workout, before a workout, or just like nothing to do with the workout.
I'll end my showers usually like whether after or before. If I'm showering in the morning, the last minute of my shower, I'll move it all the way to cold, and then I'll stand around, and I'll actually do it for 70 seconds instead of 60 seconds because I always want to do a little bit more. So
it's just like cold and uncomfortable. Just for the sake of it. I'm gonna try that. It's an easy one to kind of try. Yeah. I mean, I'm already working out. Like fasting is something. Something I'll do once in a while. That's like apparently good for you, but also like a little bit of a challenge. But cold shower one, that's an easy one to do. To like that you're doing it every day anyway. Is like you want to flex that muscle of doing something hard. Just throw the shower on cold.
It's all muscles. Like creativity, I believe, is a muscle. Like mental toughness is a muscle. Like telling yourself you're going to do something and then doing it, that's a muscle. Like there's so many things that you don't realize are muscles, but unless you're flexing it, you're doing it, you're straining it, you're growing it, like you're not going to get better at it. So that's, I'm obsessed with taking, like I personally am just an amalgamation of all the people that I listen to. So like Jocko Willink and David Goggins and Gary Vee and Ed Mylett and Andy Frisell, and combining them all, like taking what I like from them and then trying to create the perfect life, the perfect morning routine, evening routine, and figuring out what I want to accomplish and how to get there, and then just like learn from them. And then touching briefly. So in TikTok, a lot of people will say like, oh, I wanted to do this, but in the comments, they'll say, I wanted to do this, but I didn't have a mentor. I don't have a mentor. And I think the biggest misconception is not recognizing that people on these podcasts or books or all these people you're learning from are mentors.
I've always said that.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge misconception that people don't realize is just that like, you're learning from these people. They're talking to you through the podcast. Just because they're not in person doesn't mean you're not getting the mentorship value from it. So people that say, I don't have mentors is complete BS.
And the personalized advice that they might give you if you were talking to them in person wouldn't be much better than the advice that they were giving in general. I mean, Gary Vee, like I like to use the term like I graduated from Gary Vee. I fucking love Gary Vee. I bought his shoes. I love Gary Vee. But like recently, like I stopped listening to him ever since I started doing my own podcast. I'm still not as interested in him as much because a lot of his advice is stuff I've already heard and it's so basic. And I get that he's giving it to people, and it's sometimes I'll get a little tidbit from him. I'm like, ooh, that's good stuff. But point being that like, there's not that like much advice that isn't like really just basic, and then you just have to give it to yourself. And like, not having a mentor is one of the weakest excuses I could ever think of. It's so weak.
And I mean, even touching on that, like going a little bit tangential for a second. So I listened to a bunch of different podcasts, and I noticed a recurring theme. They're saying, don't connect your identity to something that's fragile that could break. But they never told me what should I connect my identity to. So they're like, don't connect your identity to being a father or a business owner or something that can be taken away from you. because one that is taken away from you, you go through a crisis. And I experienced that a lot when I was younger. So when I moved from a swimmer to a football player, I was a pretty good swimmer, but I lost that identity. And then when I left from sports to now run business, like I lost that sports identity. So I'm constantly going through identity crises, and then I'm listening to people saying, don't do that, but I didn't know what the solution was. And then I listened to an interview from Tom Bilyeu, founder of, that guy's dope.
He's the
I listened to him. Yeah. I listened to him and he was like, you want to tie your identity to being a learner, because that's something that can't be taken away from you. And that's the concept of being anti-fragile. It can't break even if it's stress tested. So I see these recurring themes from a bunch of different podcasts, but I don't connect the dots. Then one speech, one interview connects them all. And now I have a new identity I can build around that I can now leverage across the board for my entire life. And that's just the elements of mentorship. Like, you may not get everything you need from one person, but if you're taking elements of it, that's going to build something that you can then create and make your own identity.
Yeah.
And that's the mentorship side.
And you got to take the time and like listen. Like, you can't be listening to music in the car, and you can't just read a headline and be like, yeah, listen to the podcast. You got to listen. You got to put your brain to it. But dude, by the way, that is like incredible and insightful advice. Like I always think about that. Like, and I don't know if I ever like really thought about it like that, but like I think my identity is kind of attached to being like a business person. I am like a learner.
Oh, me too.
But like, the father thing, I've always said, like, I'm at the age now where I was actually supposed to get married a couple of days ago, and the wedding got pushed back because of the virus. But a lot of my friends are having kids and stuff, and it's running through my head the idea of being a dad. And I always say, it's not going to be my identity, because I see a lot of people get attached to that, and then like they change who they are, and they kind of like put their own identity in their kids. But like, that's funny. I've never really put that in words like that, but I actually have thought about that a lot. And the idea of putting your identity to being somebody who's constantly learning is very, very smart. And I think people listening
Tom Bilyeu, credit to Tom Bilyeu. I mean, like, that was
I basically know that, but I've never like put it in words like that.
And that's the thing with like learning from different sources. It doesn't matter if someone says the same message. If it's coming from a different perspective, a different angle, told to you at a different time in your life.
Yeah,
it's going to have a different.
And that's why Gary Vee repeats himself so much, and that's why he's so successful, because he's hitting people in different contexts at different times when they need it. And like, I've heard it so much that like, but maybe I'll go back and listen once in a while. But I get what he's doing, and at a certain time, everything he was saying was hitting me. And now it's kind of like in me, and like I don't need it as much. But like, hey, but they say motivation is like a shower, and you need you don't just take one once. So, but yeah, now I'm like having talking to people and like hearing stuff like that. But that is great for people who think they need a mentor in business and life. They exist now better than they ever have before through podcasts and through. I mean, I guess there was always books and stuff like that, but who wants to read books? I like audiobooks.
I like. See, here's my deal with audiobooks. I like audio. When I listen to an audiobook, it's either a podcast or an audiobook. So I like podcasts just because it's more up-to-date information. Yeah. But I still like the activity of reading and sitting down and kind of letting my mind relax. So I'll read books, but I'll listen to podcasts just because I feel like podcasts are more up-to-date information, and you get more benefit from that new age, new tactics. This is what's happening now versus the books, which are timeless classics. And I feel like if I were listening to an audiobook, I'd be taking away from the new age tactics of podcasts.
I like that.
That's kind of my perspective on that.
What are some of your favorite timeless classics?
I don't know. Okay, so as far as fiction or just like non-fiction?
Fuck fiction. I saw you said you like fiction.
Hold on. I've been getting into fiction recently, but like I'll read an hour of business minimum a day, and then in the evenings I'll use fiction to kind of unwind. I use that as my Netflix. So I don't have a TV. I don't listen. I don't.
Okay,
watch
I would watch Netflix for that.
Yeah, but I enjoy getting immersed in a story, and I'm now that I'm a little bit more cognizant of the stories. I'm very interested in how does the author tell this story? How is he able to capture me for hours on end, just sitting there reading like through text? Like that just blows my mind. So I'm looking at how he's structuring the story and trying to learn from that. So that's one element of fiction. But some of my favorite like nonfiction books, I'd say Principles by Ray Dalio. That's a really good one.
I read that. I listened to that.
Yeah. Shoe Dog. But Principles by Ray Dalio. Like my key takeaway from that was how he had like 3 different elements of of what motivates people. It's like money, meaningful work, or meaningful relationships. It's like 2 out of the 3 are usually what drive you. And that was the first, I guess, encapsulation of figuring out, like, I'd always known what drove me, but having him kind of verbalize that was really like encapsulated my perspective, and was really helpful in understanding kind of how I thought. It's meaningful work and meaningful relationships, by the way. Like, I've never really been interested in the money, which is why I really didn't care about not paying myself a salary. And even though we're making money now, I'm not spending it. I want to grow revenue because I see business as more of a game than anything. I see it as a sport. It's really my sport. Same. And I think that goes, like, even going back when I was a kid, I was always getting injured. So I was pretty good at swimming. I was like 4th in the state when I was 10. Nice. And then when I got older, I got injured and kids grew. So I was never able to fully, I guess, achieve the potential that I'd wanted. So then when I was playing football and track, I pulled my hamstring and I was tore my labrum. Like, I was getting all these injuries and I was never able to achieve what I wanted to achieve. So when I found business, I was like, okay, now there's something I can finally compete with people on a national, international scale. And it's just like the revenue number is the scorecard, but I want to see how much I can compete with all these top performers across the globe. So that's what drives me in business, is just like, it's a sport. It's competitive. It's my outlet.
So
creativity.
Fun. So fun.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And it's cool to meet someone that sees that. And it's not just like the money and what you take out of it. I like to meet people and try and figure out how I can maneuver the business to compete against these guys and get into different industries.
Dude, that's the fun part. I mean, obviously money's great. Like I actually just like bought a Tesla. No way. It's actually not even that expensive. But before that, I had the shittiest car. Like I have like, don't have the like greatest office. I don't care about things like that either. Like I like money, but dude, I could have $5 billion in the bank and I would not stop doing what I'm doing. Yeah. Like it's too fun. It's too fun. I play for the fun of it. And that is, that's definitely like, the people who end up having all the money are the ones that think like that. And that seems like common knowledge to me, but maybe that might not be common knowledge to some people.
I don't think it is. I mean,
maybe too many people listen to like rap. Like, first of all, I love rap, but like, I feel like the message there is just like, have money to just like show it off. And like, then they're like, all right, how can I get money? And then like, they never like really like understand that principle. But it seems like basic to me. Maybe that's like, it seems basic to me because I've like internalized it. But yeah, if someone's listening and like has never thought of that before, the fun is the game. And you're young and you get that already.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. But that's such a fun conversation. So last kind of topic I wanted to ask you about. You play video games?
I did as a kid, so I'm familiar with kind of what's out and what's about. I think we're about to find out, but I
don't play fucking video games. All right,
okay, I played them when I was a kid. I don't play them now.
I don't got time to do that shit. I like playing maybe like NBA or Madden, but I don't play video games. But I recently, actually, my brother was in town and he had his PS4. Downloaded Fortnite after hearing about this Travis Scott concert. Know anything about it?
Yeah.
It, for some reason, it absolutely captured my attention. The fact that people were going to this concert in the game, and during this whole like coronavirus, COVID era, right? And there was like set times that you go in the game, and the game turns into this concert. The idea fascinated me, and it made me think about like the future of the world and e-commerce and selling, like because me and you, we sell physical products in the physical world. And maybe just think about the future of e-commerce. Like, could I sell like monograms to these little people in video games, or so we have like these automated monograms. You go online, you put it in, it shows up, and it automates, and we print them out and all that. So, but after that, I got this little thing going. I started to try to create an automation to sell like iPhone backgrounds, and like, because the idea of selling something digital, or like just selling
the margins of something digital.
The margins, and like the fact that you don't have to have a turnaround time. And like, exactly. And like, so just like, I'm kind of thinking out loud here, and I just wanted to kind of run it past you and talk about it on the podcast. Anyway, like, as my warehouse space grows and I'm in the works of looking for like land or a bigger warehouse facility, I don't want to be Blockbuster, where like one day everything's shut down and all of a sudden all e-commerce and all sales are like online. And I don't know. I mean, I sell clothing, so I think people are always going to need clothing, right?
Yeah.
And like you sell, like people are always going to need toothbrushes, and people are always like going to want to do hunting. But I'm just questioning that assumption before I go spend like millions on this big building for warehouse. Now I'm already into e-commerce. I already think retail people will be always buying things online. And obviously shipping, they're going to need to be shipped in some way, shape, or form, whether through drones or whatever. But like, I don't really have a question. Just like any thoughts on the future of products and like what they might look like in a digital world at all?
So kind of, but it's super interesting that you brought that up and that the kind of Travis Scott.
The Travis Scott
immersion-
triggered these thoughts in my brain.
Yeah,
that's why.
And the funny thing is, because I literally finished a book last night, a fiction book, mind you, fiction.
All right.
It's called Ready Player One. I don't know if you've seen the movie.
I swear to God, I've heard about it. So when I was talking about all this Travis Scott stuff, someone brought that up to me.
Because it's essentially the same thing. The gist of it is the world has gone to in the fictional world has gone to shit, and then the escape to that is this virtual reality world where it's super realistic in the sense of like it's a full immersion, but you can do whatever you want. You can live your life, and the digital products are just as valuable as the physical products in the real world. But having that kind of crossover, so obviously that's kind of the Ready Player One world, I guess, is way far ahead, but I could see that viability. I really could. If that's kind of the direction the world is heading, and there's a lot of money to be made, if the immersion technology becomes
the problem I see with it at this moment is in NBA 2K, you can like customize your shoes, you can customize your jersey, like you can basically and they will charge you for that, the game.
Mm-hmm.
But they own that.
Yeah.
That's the current like problem I'm seeing. Like Fortnite owns that. Like how can I jump into? It's not a free market. It's owned by a company.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like
and that's a challenge. It has to be like a massive world, I guess, where then the companies come in and they almost like rent space inside the world.
Right.
But then someone's gonna own that.
Then someone owns the space. No one owns the space in like a free country.
I mean, maybe that could be the next like Amazon type company, is the one that creates the
world,
the virtual world where you're all immersed and trying to escape reality.
And then like you can create products within that. Like, but there's so much technology behind that. That's just what and that's why I was proud of thinking about just selling, or I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if I'll be able to sell it 99 cents. I don't know. But on your background, like a monogram, and someone can buy it from our website for 99 cents. They get a download. And now all of a sudden I'm selling digital products. Like it made me think of that. But like I can't go in Fortnite and sell stuff. So just something I just have in my head that, and if anyone listening has any thoughts on it, like hit me up about it. But
yeah, I mean, if you get some people, I'd be interested to hear that as well. Just the different perspectives on that, just because that is a very fascinating.
Because think about Blockbuster. They owned, and it's the classic failure story, but it's true. They had a business where they sold movies to people. They had great business. They had a great like sourcing of the products, and the first one to get the things. And then in each city, they had a place where people go to get the movies. Then all of a sudden, they never thought about the internet. They never thought about streaming. Yeah. Boom. All that shit is worthless now. Like, if all of a sudden people stop buying clothes and start dressing up their own little digital things, this big warehouse that I built will be worthless. And then I don't know. It's something fun to think about. And as an e-commerce guy, like I want to kind of stay connected on that thought, and I want to put that out in the world. See if anyone has any thoughts on it. But.
So that way, if it does become a reality, you're one of the first ones to talk about
exactly.
it.
I want to be
reference this clip, and I was here. I was talking about this 20 years before it happened.
I'll have wrinkles and a beard, and it'll say 2020. I had the idea.
I called it here.
But calling it doesn't mean anything. It'd be executing and jumping on it. So that's why I just like to think futuristically. But any other thoughts in your mind, man? Any other cool things you got thinking about?
No, man. I mean, kind of covered a lot of it.
I think this has been a great conversation. And for people that are your age, like I hope that like, you know, if you promote this, you can connect with some people like that, because dude, being a young entrepreneur is such a cool thing to be. And it's the best time in world history to be an entrepreneur. So listen to people like me and you. Don't get stuck in this get rich quick shit and drop shipping and thinking of those schemes. If you really want to do it, be a true entrepreneur. And if you think you want to do it, try it. And if you don't want to have that life, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not for everyone. Don't do it, but never have the regrets. So try it, start a business, do something cool. Sell products, man. That's the way I think. So you sell products. I sell products. I think it is a great, like true entrepreneurial like thing, or services like lawn mowing or like true services. But they're also harder to scale, and that's why I think selling products is such a great way to go with e-commerce and the post office. I fucking love the post office. I am a post office lover. I love them, dude. Think about it. If they didn't exist, my business couldn't exist. I couldn't get something to the backwoods of Oregon in 4 days for like $5. I love the post office. You cringed at that? You don't love the post office?
I've had a lot of run-ins with the post office.
Like what? Like what? A package doesn't get there? 99%. I've shipped hundreds of thousands of packages. They all get 99% of them get there in 3 days.
So I don't know if it's something with our distribution center or what, but 2017 it was. I was second year of business. I was still in high school. We had it was during Christmas time. So we had a couple hundred packages over the week that we were shipping out. I sent them all out, put the label on everything. That's great. They were not scanned into the system for 3 weeks. So I have customers.
That's never happened to me.
It's happened to me though. So I have customers that are like, where's my stuff? I'm getting hundreds of emails.
And nothing showed up on the
Nothing
tracking.
showed up. Nothing.
And then that actually, like one time that happened to us, like for like a group of a couple of batches of products, but then it arrived in 3 days, and for you, it actually didn't ship for 3 weeks.
No, and then the scan happened on delivery, so it was just like
that
boom,
happened to me.
Now it's there. So, and that happened twice. It happened during Christmas and then after New Year. So I'm dealing with two separate. I'm like, okay, and I'm out of the woods. Boom, here we go again, another couple hundred packages. I almost lost my mind. Mm-hmm. I was so pissed.
They don't really have anyone to contact in that situation.
No, I was every day I was on hold for like an hour. I would open 20 to 30 cases, have to close the call, then open it again because the wait time.
And it basically means nothing to open those cases.
No, it means nothing. It was literally just so I could tell the customers like, hey, I was proactive. I created this case.
Yeah. So we have a lower margin product in the clothing. FedEx and UPS are, I think they're better for like bigger things.
Yeah.
But like, so if that ever happened to us, we have the option of like remaking the product for them. It wouldn't like screw us over completely.
You can't be USPS first class. Like it's so cheap.
It's so
you can't
good.
beat that cost.
So
you can't beat it. I wish we could use it. I wish we could. But I
love your post office. I'll always defend you, and you've never done me wrong. I just want to say that. But man, dude, I think this has been awesome, man. I fucking really enjoyed talking to you. I think you're a really smart guy, and dude, I can't wait to see like where you go. And let's keep in touch in the future, man. And like, follow me on TikTok. I have 55 followers, and I'm actually right now I'm putting out. We're gonna me and my guy Brandon. He does like my like podcast and my editing.
Yeah, he DM'd me on Instagram.
Yeah, he's the guy DM'd you. He's the guy that found you. He found you. Yeah, he's amazing, Brandon. Brandon. But we're doing 48 TikToks in a row that are gonna be about the book, The 48 Laws of Power. So it's just been kind of a fun experiment to kind of jump into TikTok and learn it. And TikTok's fun, man. TikTok's fun, and you just got to be on top of these things as they happen. And for United Monograms, we are going to take that strategy. So thank you for teaching me that. We are going to make.
I hope it blows up for you. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, like we're just going to get Charlie to do a dance in one of them, and boom. And then, dude, I'm already having the problem. My biggest problem in business right now is we have so many orders that we can't produce them all. So I'm trying to. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have, and when Charlie dances in one of our things, then we'll see what happens.
Heck yeah, man.
But all right, dude, it's been a great talking to you, and this podcast will be coming out. Take a look for it, and maybe you can put it on your TikTok or something to promote it. But this has been a great conversation, man. I've enjoyed talking to you. You're a smart guy.
Yeah, you too, Sean. It has been awesome.
All right, for everyone listening, peace out.